What is up, YouTube? I am Hunter along with Nick. How are you doing, Nick?
Doing well, Hunter. Doing fantastic, I'm assuming.
I'm doing fantastic. We go through this every single
Every
time,
freaking time.
and I like it. Whatever. It don't matter.
It's fine. I'm well, you're fantastic. Now we all know. It's a given.
Exactly. That's right. Welcome to episode 15 of The Extra Point, a very popular or a very asked for topic we're coming out with today. One fan has been bugging me to do a what if episode, and we're going to do it. I think it's a great topic. It's
Yeah,
just we haven't gotten to it. Now we're doing it. What
really.
if episode. We have 3 questions that could alter the NFL forever. Maybe not forever, but a long time. Our first question: what if Seattle ran the ball with Marshawn Lynch against the Patriots in Super Bowl 49? That's number one.
Yep.
Number two, what if the almighty Megatron, Calvin Johnson, never retired? The most dominant receiver in all of football. And now, what if Brett Favre never threw that NFC or never threw that interception in the NFC Championship game against New Orleans Saints? 3 great topics, a great topic in general about the what ifs. So we're going to get it going. Our
Yeah.
first one, what if Seattle ran the ball with Marshawn Lynch in Super Bowl 49 in the last little seconds? Nick, what would happen?
Well, so there's different opinions on everything, but I would have to say if Marshawn Lynch were to run the football, one, whether he scores that yard or not, they had a timeout.
Correct.
There was still time on the clock. When was the last time Marshawn Lynch fumbled a football? I don't know. That would be the equivalent of throwing a pick on the 1 yard line is you fumble the ball and lose it on the 1 yard line.
Right.
That's the only thing that could happen. My odds against Marshawn Lynch fumbling at the 1 yard line are very slim to none.
Right.
So I would say they are at least safe. Most people probably say he punches it in. I don't know. I don't know if he would. I don't know if he would punch it in.
Right.
You know, we had some solid defensive. We had solid linebackers, a good front. Don't know if he can squeeze it in. Regardless, I don't think they turn the ball over. They give themselves another chance. That's the little picture stuff, right?
Okay.
Big picture is the difference of two teams, two franchises as a whole. Okay, let's say they score on the 1 yard line. Well,
Right.
barring some ridiculous Hail Mary miracle by the Patriots, they have officially created a dynasty. Back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yep.
Legion of Boom lives on. Marshawn Lynch probably doesn't retire. All is well. Who knows? Maybe they go and win another one in a row. Regardless, they have a dynasty, okay?
Yes.
And the Patriots, just what? That'd be 3 straight Super Bowl appearances?
Brady's got
3
5
straight
instead
Super
of
Bowl
6.
losses.
Yeah.
Yeah. This whole second dynasty to the Patriots, Belichick and Brady, probably never happens. That was the beginning of it. So much could have happened had
Right.
they not thrown the ball. And I wanted to voice my opinion real quick. I don't think it was a bad idea to throw the ball.
No, it
Since
wasn't
most
that bad.
people in the world are seeing, oh, 1 yard line, we're running it. But you don't throw a design slant route on Bill Belichick at the 1 yard line because you know he
Especially that
practiced.
easy of a pick play. I saw it
Yeah.
coming.
Well,
Not to make
it,
myself sound
it was
smart, but it's
easy.
obvious.
It was so easy. They read it like a book, you know. It's disappointing for them, but it really defined. I mean, look at their defense. Who is left from the Legion of Boom? One guy, Bobby Wagner. That's it.
Right.
You got no one else. They're all Michael Bennett. He's gone. Richard Sherman's gone. Chancellor retired. Earl Thomas is gone. Is KJ Wright still there? They might have KJ Wright still.
They do have to
Bruce Irvin, he's gone. They just dismantled. Freaking Marshawn Lynch retired after that play.
and went to another team after he came back out of
He
retirement.
did. I mean, it completely ended everything. And then on the other hand, like Pats have won 3 Super Bowls, had the second part of their dynasty.
You're right.
It really changed the course of 2 franchises completely.
I'm glad you brought up dynasties. There has not been another dynasty since the Patriots. And if they would have got that, you're right. They would have became a dynasty. Maybe not, obviously not a big dynasty compared
Might
to
not
the
have
Patriots.
lasted as long, but still,
Right.
you went
But
back
it
to
was
back.
still a
You're a
dynasty.
dynasty. Yeah.
Right. Especially what they did to Denver the year before. Oh, my
God.
God.
If they could have
Man,
said we demolished Peyton Manning in his greatest season ever in the Super Bowl, and we beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, that's huge to talk about.
that defense is one of the best ever. I mean, granted, they were good the past 2-3 years,
Right.
but
They didn't
just to
immediately
beat
drop
those
off.
two guys in the
Yeah.
biggest stage, the Super Bowl, that's huge already.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't think it was that bad of a call. I would have ran it. So they have 20 seconds, roughly, give or take. 20 seconds.
22, I believe. Yep.
If they don't get it, Marshawn Lynch, may I mind you, 24 carries, 102 yards, and a touchdown in this game.
Right.
So he's already done pretty well. So he runs it in. They don't get it. That's about 17 seconds on the clock. Call a timeout. If you don't run it again, or if you run it again, he most likely gets in the end zone. If he doesn't, Patriots win. Or they could throw it, get in the end zone. They have, 14 seconds left? Unless they pull a John Casey and kick the ball out of bounds.
Give Brady whatever time they need to come down and get at least a field goal.
Yeah, 13 seconds,
Yep.
3 points. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's going to happen. Unless they pull a freaking Minnesota Miracle or some amazing thing like
Some
that.
ridiculous
Saints,
play.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. No, I think if they ran it the first time, I think they get it. If they don't, if they run it a second time, they're definitely going to get it. I don't think I don't think they're not. So
yeah.
But the pass wasn't a bad call in my opinion. It was on the first play. The second play wouldn't have been that bad. But another play, man, a pick play, stacked receivers on the right side. I mean,
you had Lockett, right?
Oh.
Brandon Browner was a solid size matchup, but freaking Lockett is a tall, lengthy guy. Throw an out right at the corner, lob it up, say, hey, go make a play. If he doesn't, it'd be that would be one hell of an interception on the lob play for Tyler Lockett for someone to somehow get that. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
So I agree. I don't, passing is not a bad idea. It's just that particular type of pass play was so easy. It's just dumb.
Just because of that game, the Legion of Boom would live on after the Super Bowl if they won it. Yep. Legion of Boom would live on. This defense would live on. Who's not to say they win another Super Bowl or just be a dominant team for years to come?
Yep.
I mean, Seattle is always, maybe not this year because I don't call it, Seattle's always a playoff team, and they have been for many years.
Yep.
Because of their offense, of Russell Wilson, and their defense in general. But if they would have won that game, they could possibly still be together.
I agree. I don't think anything would have disbanded. Because there was a lot of drama after. Obviously, Marshawn Lynch voiced his opinion about it. Richard Sherman voiced his opinion about it, and that pretty much started this big, 3-way argument between coach and players, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah.
So, huge what-if scenario there.
Well, that is what if Seattle ran the ball. I know it's still a big debate.
It's still a big
nowadays.
Question. Yeah.
That was years ago. But there's our takes on that. Now we're going to move on to topic 2. So we've got Calvin Johnson. I don't know if y'all are new football fans or you've seen, the Jerry Rice days. I haven't, obviously, or I don't remember it very well. I remember Calvin Johnson. I remember Thanksgiving Day, watching the Lions.
Yep.
Him getting over 200 yards. I just remember watching highlights or watching games every Sunday.
Yep.
Oh, my good Lord. This man was unstoppable. Couldn't beat him.
He, honestly, he reminds me of Julio Jones, but arguably better. Like, the guy was on a different level. It's crazy.
I never even got to the topic. What if Calvin Johnson never retired? Sorry, I throw that out there.
Yeah.
What if he never retired? Nick, what if this beast of a receiver never hung up his cleats?
Well, to start off small, I think, the Lions would always be some sort of playoff contender.
Definitely.
I think they made the playoffs 2 years in his time there. They had some really bad seasons in his time there as well, not due in part to him, but just having no one else on the team whatsoever. Matt Stafford came along, isn't a bad quarterback to throw it to, but honestly, I think I don't think it would have affected the Lions much. He's one guy. He's dominated his whole career, and they pretty much sucked his whole career. I think for him, however, he was 30 when he retired, 2015. So if he still listen, his last year he played football. Ready? 88
Yep.
catches, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, and he retired with those numbers. Okay, I 100% believe he could have played 5 more years just the same, and this guy would be an instant first ballot Hall of Famer. Could he still go to the Hall of Fame? Sure. People look at his, what he did in his time playing. I'm sure he could go to the Hall of Fame, but this guy would be a legendary, one of the greatest receivers of all time had he played just another 4 to 5 more years, in my opinion.
Now, a lot of people put the list at Jerry Rice and then Randy Moss. If this guy would have played, like you said, 5, I mean, if he really wanted to, 10 years.
He could have. He could have been.
He could have been second to number 1.
He could have give Rice, Moss, Owens, Fitzgerald, all of them a run for their money any day of the week.
I mean, in my opinion, he is still the most dominant receiver to ever play the game. Not the best,
I agree.
Just because of the records and the stats.
Right.
But dominant, like you say about Gronk, oh my God.
Right.
This is a guy who would line up. I sound like Chris Collinsworth. Here's a guy that lines
here's
up.
A guy. Yeah.
6'5". Let me look. 6'5", I think he was.
He was 6'5" is first of all freakishly tall for a receiver. I think Gronk was 6'6" or 6'7". Okay, and that's a freak of nature. This guy was 6'5" at a receiver.
Yeah, and
phenomenal.
What 250? 6'5", 225, 250.
You're right. Yeah,
and he has the speed at 4'6". So you put a tall corner on him or a bigger corner, he's going to outbody the corner.
He's gonna
blow by him. You put a small one, he's just going to push him down. That's fast, and he's going to catch it over him. So, I mean, you look at his film, he would catch balls. Matthew Stafford will pull an Eli Manning in the Super Bowl.
He would launch it. He would. He close his eyes, throw it into just 3 or 4 people, and he would come down with it every time. And truthfully, some of these plays were well defended. There's nothing you can do on this guy.
You want to talk about Madden 16 where you just click Y and they'd make a spectacular catch that's impossible? No. Nothing is impossible when it comes to catching with Calvin Johnson on the field. Nothing. He can run down the field, catch it when you just throw it off the line of scrimmage. He can catch it with 5 guys on him, out jump them, big hands.
Yep. Plus, to me, I look at it, how many clutch plays did him and Stafford have? A lot of that goes to Stafford, but it seemed like every other game they won. I forget what season it was, maybe 2012 or something.
Clutch.
They won like 4 or 5 straight games, or like a 30 seconds or as the time expired, because Calvin Johnson made some miraculous catch in the back of the end zone, or he schooled somebody and broke their ankles, got wide open on a game winner. The guy was he was the Gronk. He is the Gronk of wide receivers, the most dominant player at his position of all time. Jerry Rice was consistently great. That's why he has the numbers, why he's the greatest of all time. But this guy, I mean, I'm trying to think. I guess he's like a Isaac Bruce mixed with Randy Moss. And hell, I suppose he could throw you like a Wes Welker. Maybe he's quick too. I mean, he can run great routes.
Slot. You catch him in the slot, slants, drags. So he plays 9 seasons.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice plays until he's 42.
Yep.
Megatron plays until he's 30.
Yep.
The league or the career touchdown record is Jerry Rice at 197.
Yep.
In 9 years, he gets 83.
83.
I don't think he's going to break, if he plays another 9 and plays till he's 42, I don't think he's going to break 197. He get close, but the yards, though, he could have very well broke.
He had 1,100. He had 11,619 yards in 9 seasons.
Right, and the record is 22,895. So he's halfway there in half the time played.
It really is ridiculous.
Actually, a little less than that. A little less.
Yeah, I mean, I think he led the league in receiving back-to-back years. He was a 3-time All-Pro. I think he made the Pro Bowl 6 straight times. Mm-hmm. He led the league in touchdowns his second year in the league. So sophomore year, he pulled a Pat Mahomes. I think he had 1,300 yards and like 12 touchdowns in his second year in the league. Okay, so the guy was pretty much dominant from start to finish.
Not doing the math or anything, but if he played till he was 40, I think he would have got 25,000 yards, which breaks
You could
Jerry Rice's
definitely have
record by
argued
3,000.
he would have been the greatest probably of all time.
Right. And
That I
granted,
certainly
Jerry
agree
Rice
there.
literally has every one of, or 90% of the receiving records in
He's
general.
got catches, yards, touchdowns.
I don't think Calvin Johnson would have broke any of them. Maybe the little rinky-dink ones, but he would have broken the
Yeah,
yardage record. And
yeah,
even when he's played till he's 30, which is pretty young to retire, 9 years. He still is. His legacy's going to live on. He
yeah.
still is the most dominant receiver of all time. Period. The end. Not the greatest, but a dominant.
Dominant for sure.
All right, we will be right back after the short intermission. Don't go away, and we will talk about topic 3. Just wanted to take a couple moments to tell y'all about the website Overtime Heroics. Overtime Heroics is a sports website that includes podcasts, live shows, sports news, and forums where you can talk to other people in the sports community. It's free and it's easy to make an account. Once you do, you can post your opinions and debate on other people's topics. We post on it regularly, so be sure you find us and give us your opinion on our topics. Remember, Overtime Heroics, and now back to the video. Welcome back to the Extra Point episode 15. We left off with the Calvin Johnson, the Megatron of the NFL.
Yep.
Now we are going to move on. What if Brett Favre, Hall of Famer, never threw that interception, that dumb throw across his body at midfield in the NFC Championship game against the Saints in 2009 or 10, I do believe. Nick, what if that never happened? What would happen?
Well, so for everyone that's a little shaky on that situation, let me break it down a little bit better for you. Long story short, we get down to a tie game in the Superdome. This is back when Brett Favre came out of retirement. He moved on to the Vikings. It turned out to be his last game of his career. NFC Championship game winner goes to play the Colts in the Super Bowl against Peyton Manning.
All right.
Tie game, 28-28, 19 seconds left. Brett Favre rolls out. They are, mind you, they are on well within field goal range.
Yep.
On the Saints' side of the field. So they are set up for a field goal. They just can't screw it up. They can't lose the
33-yard line.
football. You know, honestly, he could have probably taken a couple-yard sack if he needed to, but no. Brett Favre rolls out to the right. Two guys wide open. They were only 10 yards out. It was 3rd and 15. However, they were wide open. I could have closed my eyes and threw it up there myself. And one of those two people would have caught it because they weren't even noticeable by the Saints defense. What does Brett Favre do? Looks them off, rolling right, looks to his left middle of the field, throws it as ugly as he could off his back foot,
across his body.
And mind you, he's not Patrick Mahomes, okay?
Oh.
Right into the defender of the Saints for an interception. One of the ugliest passes you'll ever see. A few minutes later goes by. The Saints win the coin flip in overtime, and Drew Brees keeps it out of his hands, kicks a game-winning field goal. That is the last play Brett Favre ever had. That's the last thing he ever did was throw an ugly interception.
Now let me stop you there. That is a shitty way to go out.
That is how terrible. That tarnished his legacy to me. Look, he has the most interceptions of all time, right? So that already has him, he's a gunslinger.
Granted, he's played for, he's not Brady. Well, Brady, they about played the same.
He played for a while, but he had a lot of yards and touchdowns. Before
he's a gunslinger.
And Brees, he led him both. At the time he retired, he had led him both touchdowns and yards, okay? Right. But he also led in interceptions. Yep, and for your last play, I think he was 40 years old, or he was old when he came out of retirement to play. That's impressive to go to the NFC Championship in the Superdome and to would have hopefully have gotten at least a field goal try to go to the Super Bowl. Yep. Let's say he doesn't do that. Let's say he tosses it to that flat. It's 4th down. So what? They're in field goal range. They kick a field goal, game over. They're in the Super Bowl. Let's say they're in the Super Bowl. They could have beat Peyton Manning. So all of a sudden, this one dumb interception that he threw could have tarnished Drew Brees and Peyton Manning's legacy. Drew Brees can't make it to the Super Bowl. Hasn't done it since then. Peyton Manning can't win a Super Bowl. Would have been a second one. Well, he still could. He didn't win it anyway, but still, it tarnished their legacies. Okay,
It did.
let's look at Brett Favre. We're not going to look at him as the guy that, all he did was launch the ball up in the air and see what happened. We would look at him as, wow, he was 40-something years old. He was still clutch, and he won a couple Super Bowls. 2-time champ.
That's horrible.
It literally took him from, honestly, if that never happened, first of all, Drew Brees, I'm sorry, without a Super Bowl, he would not be in my top 5. Takes him out of my legacy respect to some point. Peyton Manning, I don't know if it affected him too much because he ended up losing that Super Bowl anyway to the Saints. But Brett Favre goes way up in my book. He's a several-time champ, comes out of retirement at an old age, wins the Super Bowl, and he had a phenomenal year, if I'm not mistaken, statistically. So, granted, he had, like you mentioned earlier, he had Adrian Peterson, that was that freakish season that he had that really, brought him on to the league. So, but still, that would have been one hell of a story. And it would have been great for the Vikings. The Vikings, when it comes to the Saints, the Vikings and Saints in the playoffs is awesome. I love it.
It is. Oh,
It
I
really
love
is.
it. It's great.
It's awesome. They got some redemption on them a few years ago on the
Yeah.
Saints. It was pretty funny to you. I thought it was interesting with the Minnesota Miracle, right? However, they could have made it to a Super Bowl. Had their kicker made, what was it, a 19-yard field goal in one of the coldest games ever.
Right.
One of the easiest looking chip shot field goals. He shanked it left. Another dark thing to look on is this Brett Favre thing. So it could have really saved the franchise too.
Yep.
Now, once I see the Vikings in the playoffs, I'm like, well, this won't last long.
No.
I do want to watch the games, though, to see how awful it's going to end for them. It's always interesting.
They don't have very good luck. I mean, they just, like Blair Walsh against Seattle. Yeah, it's not very good luck. And then, like you said, they beat the Saints, but ultimately get their butts kicked in the NFC Championship by the Eagles. So anyway, if the Vikings would have won that game.
Yeah.
Brett Favre did not have a good game, 70 QB rating, but you got to look at Adrian Peterson, 25 carries for 122 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game alone.
My God.
The Saints defense. They go on to play the Colts. Let's rewind. It's 3rd and 10. He already screwed up because they got a delay of game penalty. Backs it up to 3rd and 15. Then he rolls out, and instead of chunking it out of bounds and been fine, like you said, he makes that great play in the center of the field, throwing it to the other team. Anyway, so let's say he didn't do that. Moves on to the or the Super Bowl against the Indianapolis Colts. Brett Favre could have probably either not played. He could have just sat the bench. He could have taken a sack every single down or every down that he wanted to throw a ball. The Colts allowed 2,000 rushing yards plus that season. Adrian Peterson could have split that line wide open. He could have
destroyed them.
That could have been a 200 rushing yard game and done it himself and only him on that whole entire team. Him and the offensive line could have done that. And I'm sorry, Peyton Manning would still have 2 Super Bowls. I don't think he would have beat the Vikings. If he did, great. If he didn't, he could have 3. He would still have 2, in my opinion. The Vikings would have a Super Bowl ring in the past forever. Have they ever won a Super Bowl? Don't think so. So that's a Super Bowl ring. Brett Favre gets another one. That's 2. Adrian Peterson gets a ring. And the Vikings are not choke artists and have the most horrible luck in all of football. Well, one of. Yeah, that would have been a big turnout. And Adrian Peterson's legacy would have gotten a whole lot bigger. He's already a Hall of Famer, but damn, that would have been even better.
Yeah. I think the big thing it impacts, though, is his personal legacy to me. Because when you're the guy that throws the most interceptions of all time, something's, he's a gunslinger, and we understand it, and we go, that's fine. It wasn't just that. I mean, the guy, he's lost several games from errant interceptions
Yes.
that were unnecessary and plays on it because he just wants. It's one thing to try and always make a play, but sometimes the best play is not making one at all.
Check it down, man. Just check it down.
Check it down. Throw it away. Hell, take a knee. He could have taken a knee, and they would have lost
fall.
maybe 2 yards. It would have been fine.
I mean, if he doesn't want to run out of bounds there, he doesn't want to chunk it and get 0 gains, just fucking fall down.
You like
and
Peyton Manning
lose
in
2.
2015. Just fall down.
Yeah.
There's no shame. But, yeah, that was it just tarnished his legacy. The guy, that was the last pass he ever threw in the NFL right there.
Granted,
he has to live with that.
He has a Super Bowl. He has records, or he did.
However, he could have more.
Yeah, right. He still is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But you're right, that hurt at the time. Now it probably don't hurt that bad, but at the time, well, maybe for Vikings in general. For him, probably not that bad. But the Vikings in general, that close. They've been that close for
multiple times.
20 years.
I
mean, just at separate occasions. They've had one of the greatest running backs on their team. They've had one of the greatest receivers on their team. They have 2 of them. They've had one of the greatest quarterbacks on their team, and they just cannot do it. I mean,
they can't put it together.
Now they've got a great team. Now
they got a great team this year still. What
last
they do
year,
last
they
year,
blew it. This year, let's see. They've got a hard division to go into, but we won't get into that. But yeah, I mean, it's poor guy. Bad throw, bad call. I mean, yeah, and he is a gunslinger, so he was never the smartest of those. That's why I can't remember what quarterback now says they compare him to Brett Favre. I wouldn't do that.
The experts, the analysts would compare Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes even to Brett Favre. I think Baker Mayfield was the main one. He's the same size and build, and he's a gunslinger. I don't think Baker Mayfield's that much of an idiot that he would throw a...
Patrick Mahomes, I can see, because I saw that in the AFC Championship game.
He did throw it sidearm. He did throw it. Granted, it worked out for him so far. It's working out for him.
He did throw it into triple coverage in the AFC Championship game against the Patriots 3 times in the last 5 minutes.
He did.
So I can see it, but he's young, obviously. Brett Favre's not young. He was 40-plus years old. He should know better.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't take that as a compliment, in my opinion. But whatever. Brett Favre's the gunslinger. He is a Hall of Famer, and I agree. But, yeah, that was not a good throw, not a good way to go out. Poor guy.
Yeah.
So. Not everybody can be a Brady. A Brady. Voice was cracked. Not everybody can be a Brady.
Well, I mean, Brady's a one of a kind. Well, see, the perfect quarterback would be a Brady mindset, Brady longevity, Brady clutch with a, Brett Favre cannon. The guy had a cannon. I think he could air it out like 80 yards, which is pretty ridiculous. I mean, even when he was 40, I think he could air it out about 65 yards or something. I mean, he had a cannon. You put that on a quarterback like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, they're untouchable. So that would be a perfect quarterback. If he could have done what Brady or Manning did mentally, he probably would have been the GOAT. Honestly, he probably would have.
One of them at least, yeah.
So
I agree. Poor guy, poor Vikings, poor Brett Favre. Calvin Johnson's a beast, and the Seattle Seahawks made a great mistake. So that is our What If episode. I hope you guys liked it. We are now, like we said last episode, an NFL only. If you want topics or if you want to give us a topic, tweet us, Instagram, comments below in the YouTube, in the video, whatever y'all want to do. We need topics, and we'll get them to y'all. Promise. If they're decent. Anything, Nick?
No, that was it. I hope we do another one of these because this was awesome. I love the idea of the What If episode. We should do more of these.
Thank you for giving us the what if thought, the what if scenario. It was a nice one. Ollie, appreciate it. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Tune in next Friday for episode 16, and we will catch you later on the Extra Point.